The universe has a favor to ask. Once you have given me what I need, your part of the ritual will be complete.
So Oxford Lamoureux from the 13th floor. I'm speaking with Ryan Kwanten. How are you today, mate?
Awesome, Oxford. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I've got you here. You're talking about the new film that you're in, Glorious, which is currently streaming on Shudder, released on August 18th, directed by Rebecca McKendry, and you're the star of the show. So tell us a little bit about it.
Look, mate, this is by far one of the more rewarding, fruitful sort of productions I've ever been a part of. And it sort of just reminded me of why I love the business of movie making in general. It's just um, you see a bunch of sort of individuals who sort of didn't know each other before, or all working towards a common goal. It reminds me of just how good humans can be when we sort of put our heads and our passions together. And this really was one of those, you hear it all the time, but a real labor of love, man. Like no one was doing this for any ulterior motive, certainly not, finance.
Just
So
the ulterior motive of art, you know,
exactly,
and
exactly.
horror. Yeah, yeah.
Little unit out there trying to make art,
Nice. That's awesome, man. Well, so I was going to say it's the good vibes kind of feelings, a little bit of a contrast to the central themes of the kind of the film itself. So that must be kind of a nice balance. That's probably necessary. What drew you to it? What drew you to Glorious and Wes, particularly your character in it?
What drew me originally was the name J.K. Simmons. The fact that he was already attached,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely was like a foot in the right direction.
Mm,
Pretty much kind of already leaping off the cliff, to be honest.
yeah.
And if I'm going to be stuck in a restroom with any Oscar winner, I kind of like it to be J.K.
I was gonna say, I
Uh,
assume he was method, full in the stall, constantly peering out. Are you there? Yeah. It was
yeah,
great,
yeah, yeah.
man.
No, he never left character. Never left
Nice.
character. He's still
Yeah.
a god of sorts.
Truly terrifying. Yeah, started in Whiplash and just left from straight up from there. Fantastic. Well, so how was that actually? I was gonna ask the experience. So Glorious, for anyone who's watching this and hasn't watched it, which would be ridiculous because it's amazing. Is shot all in a bathroom. Kind of a not a pandemic film, but by the construction of the pandemic kind of surroundings, which is brilliant. I've done a couple films recently which have really maximized that opportunity rather than a hindrance, and it's awesome to see it done really, really well. Um, and so, yeah, so what was it like spending the time in just a single room in a bathroom doing, I assume, some ADR? But I guess there was also kind of acting as well. Did it feel different in making it to the final kind of product, I should say?
It was very much sort of play-like as much as a film can get play-like. We shot in chronological order, and the script itself
Oh, cool.
very much lended itself to sort of a play anyway. Waiting
Mm,
instead of waiting for Godot on Heat,
yeah,
on like given a real horror spin to it. Um, so the chronological order of shooting it definitely helped us. So we could progressively get the truck stop restroom sort of more and more bloody,
mm,
myself included, getting me more and more kind of disheveled and fucked up. And in terms of JK, we did at least sort of two full recording sessions where we kind of worked our way through the script, page one to the end, and we got a good understanding of where he wanted to take the character. Nuances, cadence. Obviously, he's very unique with that and very expert when it comes to voiceover kind of performances. So he added such a brilliant kind of nuance between kind of that, really harnessing in on that the humor and horror of what we are trying to
yeah.
accomplish here.
Man, that must be so good. I'm like just low key jealous. Like it's like a one-on-one acting class with one of your heroes, eh? Like it's just
Oh,
absolutely
absolutely.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, to be in all honesty, he wasn't there for the 18 days. So
Mm,
you have to understand that
yeah.
that's the rehearsal that I got, those sort of two or three times that we did it, I got an understanding of it. Then he got to see my performance in retrospect and then lay down his performance after that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a give me what you've got, I'll give you everything I've got, and then he's going to come back with his little piece at the end.
That's like, I mean, that's the beauty of good collaborative kind of art, really, is when you can feed on stuff and you in the rehearsal, from the script to rehearsal, you kind of work out, both set the character for yourself and that kind of thread of tone kind of throughout. So I guess that's really important as well. And so coming from, I won't go into your past work too much because, you've got fantastic things to talk about, but I mean, you must be used to kind of fast, episodic kind of rehearsal learning and kind of developing those beats and those characters really quickly. Is that an essential part now to getting a really great performance and character and kind of bond on screen? That kind of immediate clicking between everyone in the rehearsal to kind of bring it along?
Yeah, it's a great point, and it's one that's sort of, I guess, often overlooked with acting is that you do, I have a terrible long-term memory. I can't remember anything before I was,
Yeah.
sort of 15. It's really
We've been
bizarre,
talking for 2 hours. That's, yeah.
but
Thanks.
in terms of short-term memory, I can kind of bulk read overnight and kind of regurgitate it the next day, and hopefully do it with um, enough truth to convince
Yeah.
our illustrious public that I'm doing a good job.
Okay. And
Um,
so I was going to say on the authenticity part of that, how do you find I assume that you're a very sweet man in real life. How do you find bringing these more complex dualistic characters to screen that have a darker side to explore? Is that cathartic for
yeah, I
you,
think
or
I
is
think
it
the truth is always harder to find in a darker character. So
mm,
as I've got older and my career choices have definitely got darker, weirder. My sensibilities have kind of gone less mainstream and more um, not necessarily avant-garde, but just more original.
yeah,
I've gotten really no time for rehashes, reboots, sequels, anything like that. I want to be a part of original storytelling because there's just so many freaking great storytellers out there that are dying for, an actor like myself or anyone out there to kind of be a part of their vision. That's what I love more than anything is when someone, has got a vision and they're willing to go to bat for it. Yeah, you're going to get people coming out of the woodwork to help you.
yeah. That must be amazing, man. Oh, so obviously, I mean, you'd be the first pick for everyone doing these kind of things after watching this film. It's amazing. The
Well, I do. I love genre movies. I really do. Genre is my kind of bread and butter. I feel like from an emotional standpoint, it can open you up both as an actor and as an audience member. Can open you up to quite often genre can get you to laugh, and then I think if you can get to laugh, you're almost one step closer to sort of the other human conditions, sort of like crying, grief, whatever it may be.
yeah.
There's a the breadth of the human condition is never short of like something to be captivated by.
Yeah, I really respect that, man. You should be a writer for sure. It's fantastic. Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, so yeah, so I mean, on the kind of exploring the kind of human condition aspect of like characters, do you find that you share that with a lot of people that you work with? Is that something that you've struggled to kind of carve out in your career, or is there more opportunities do you find lately to do kind of art, more kind of art focused, character driven things than mainstream stuff?
Yeah, I think you've just got to, for me, it's staying my course, like I know what I like and I just don't accept second best, I would rather do a film like this where you're solving things creatively on the day,
Yeah.
because you don't have more money, you don't have more time than to sort of be part of projects that can shoot for 6 months to a year, and it's to add another week to the schedule is nothing. Um, for me, I like having a pace, I like having momentum, I like being on my toes, and independent movie making really does that for anyone in it. It has such a rhythm to it, such a romance to it as well, man.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I think it's a lot of authenticity as well. I find a lot of smaller, passion project kind of films. There's a lot of authenticity to the writing, to the set design, everything that goes into it. It feels you get that emotive response, I think, a lot stronger. This is the other thing that I was going to ask, just back onto that previous point, is so horror uniquely, and in this film, excellent. So connecting with the film for me has always been like multi-layered, visual, aesthetical kind of connection and character. But so emotional response is huge, enormous. And I am bored to tears, man, by so many repetitive cookie cutter shit. It drives me nuts. I have to review it and I'm like, how do I not just hate this thing? So that's why I love Shudder. They've got amazing stuff as well, but this
They
film as
do.
well is brilliant. And so like I love like the heightened emotion combined of horror and humor, being scared shitless and then laughing about it, and how that elevates your actual emotional response to connect and be present in the moment and then connect with what you're watching on screen. And so I mean, I find not to put words, but I mean, is that something that you kind of feel in the emotional connection with kind of the stuff that you do, that the darker things are more exciting, that they have more to play with? But then also horror as well. Like, do you find that combo is necessary, that comedy and horror balance to get really good kind of emotive
Oh,
horror?
I don't necessarily think it's necessary. There's
It's a long
definitely
ass
good
question, so take
horror out
time.
there that
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah.
What's that?
I said it's a long ass question, so take your time. Yeah,
Oh, you're right. No, I
yeah.
definitely don't think comedy is necessary for horror. I mean, it's obviously a genre of horror to when
Mm,
you add that comedic kind of element to it. Um, but you look at a movie, I don't know, like Mandy. There's definitely allusions, in sort of subtle composition way, and also in subtle color schemes
yeah,
of our movie to that. But in terms of a tone, we completely different.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
totally.
so there's many similarities that horror movies can share, but there's so many genres within horror that you can't help but get um, something that you is going to be up your alley or in your mood that particular evening.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend watching this one at night rather than eating your cereal in the morning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The neon themselves. I mean, so Mandy's a fantastic kind of thing. So for me, it's the element. So in this film, I would say like the element of like humor that kind of breaks away from the constant tension is like the fact that it's a glory hole, and the fact that there's moments of Wes kind of freaking out and having these very weird human moments that anyone would watch, kind of having that kind of like it's a beautiful kind of thing. But so Mandy was an interesting one because I also thought so. Nicolas Cage, fantastic, always adds a little bit of spice. But Color Out of Space again was another similar neon kind of pink, also cosmic kind of themes as well. I love that visual aesthetic. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, it's brilliant. So I mean, the last thing is,
Well,
do you
and
have?
particularly when it's combined with either sort of a mythology or a deeper set philosophy that Mandy definitely have, and I know Rebecca McKendry on ours had definitely tried to get a sort of a real Lovecraftian through line the whole
Yeah.
way through it, and it really does add another element to it.
And so I guess so before we do run off, I'll just ask you. So as someone who does think a lot about their projects and focuses on the human condition, cosmic horror must be terrifying to you. The scopelessness of the
Yeah.
whole thing. Of yeah, that's fantastic. Did you was that a present kind of thing that you felt throughout when you were doing the kind of character and working with Rebecca and J.K. Simmons?
That's a fantastic question. It really is. It is because the scope is so open range. It really is a smorgasbord of like what other choices available here, and
Yeah,
so it was important that we really knew where we were and where we were going to. It forced us to be in the present moment as opposed to like three steps ahead or worried about what people were going to think when we did that. Let's just worry about what we've got in front of us right now.
yeah, yeah,
That
fantastic.
for us became key because the moment you sort of start getting too existential with it, you can just go down a rabbit hole and
Yeah.
never come back.
I just that's there is no it's infinite. There is no coming back. It's just yeah.
Right.
But no, it's fantastic, and I love it. So glorious. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The pacing of it, the story and twist, it got me. And I'm usually one of those irritating people who does it on the fly. So I was like, yeah, great. I was like little bravo in my
We
room. I was like,
gotcha.
damn boy, you got me. Yeah, it was awesome. It's fantastic. So final question: if you had one question to ask the great mysteries of the universe, Ryan Kwanten, what would it be? And the terror takes hold.
I don't know. Quickest way to change a tire. I don't know, man.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that, man. That's cool. Awesome. Sweet, cool. Well, hey, fantastic. Thank you very much for having a chat. I really appreciated that. So Glorious, now you can check it
Actually,
out
you know what?
on Shudder.
It's. I think it's some kind of like International Day of Dogs. You got my pooch sitting right next to me. Every now and then, I would just like to know what he's thinking. There we go.
Do you ever sit there and look at him and just say
Yes.
one word? If you said one word, I'd be a billionaire. I'd be forever.
Oh.
Could make any movie I want,
not
mate.
even from
Make
a
any movie.
financial standpoint.
Yeah.
But how would you convince someone that he spoke to you?
Well, that would be, imagine living with the dog who could talk. You'd no longer, even Ryan Kwanten would no longer be the most popular person. Good gosh, that's true terror, I'm sure. Well, hey, thank you for having a chat, man. It was a real joy. Really made my day. Awesome stuff, and I'm gonna definitely look forward to anything you do in the future because it's absolutely fantastic. So Glorious, you can check it out. Thank you very much for having a chat, and I'll talk to you soon. Cool.
Thank you so much, Oxford.
Big
Appreciate
man.
the diligence and
All good.
the hospitality. Thanks, man.